Good evening, this is V, and I've just finished reading Witch King by Martha Wells. The main character is a demon called Kai, and the story essentially begins when a rather foolish group of people decide to wake him up because they want to appropriate him as their familiar. I say wake him up because it turns out Kai's actually been dead for the past year or so, only he has no memory of how it happened, so he's pretty confused when he finds himself waking up in the middle of a tomb. The book moves back and forth between a past and present day narrative. So in the present day, you have Kai trying to figure out exactly what happened, like who killed him, why they killed him, and what happened to his friends, a lot of whom seem to have gone missing. And they're all really important people for an upcoming event where there's supposed to be the renewal of an alliance between a lot of different countries. Then you have the historical sections, which cover some of Kai's early history and how he begins to earn his title as the Witch King. So basically about 60 to 70 years ago in this world, there was a really major conflict where a really powerful empire was systematically conquering and destroying a lot of countries all around the world. And Kai, along with his companions, were really instrumental in both building and leading the alliance of nations that eventually managed to stop this empire and destroy the people who were in charge of it. So you have the story of how that revolution began. So I liked a lot of things about this book. Mainly though, I guess the author managed to create a world that I just found really interesting to learn about. Like there were a lot of different cultures with different relationships to different types of magic. So just a few examples. Kai himself as a demon actually comes from a culture of nomadic people who had an agreement with demons where when one of their people passed away, they would give the body to a demon who would come from a place called the Underearth and possess the body and then pass along like that person's final thoughts, since they briefly retain the memories of the body that they take over. And then the demon continues on as that person and lives with the tribe for a period of time. So demons are basically just part of their culture, like they're regarded as part of the family, rather than something that people fear, even though they do have some pretty spectacular abilities, like they're almost impossible to kill since they heal super fast and they can pull life out of things, so like kill things with a touch. Then there's like a group of people they refer to as the immortal blessed. It sounds a bit like they're people who all get baptized when they're born in a really special well, which makes them not entirely human, and also confers like certain types of different powers and stuff. Then they have witches who are actually like people who were born from demons and humans a while ago, and then they use magic in an entirely different way. So like learning about all these different cultures and traditions and peoples and magics was interesting, especially since the focus was a lot more on the things that made them unique as opposed to having a lot of discussion on like prejudice and stuff like that. There was quite a bit of violence since this is a revolution story, although it's not very graphic. Like the author does not feel the need to describe the violence in excruciating detail. So for the most part, I thought it wasn't that bad. Like I appreciated that fact. And so I guess there isn't really anything I don't like about the story. Like if I had one thing I would have liked to see, it would just be that I wanted to know more. For instance, there's hints that there's more to the empire that they defeated than people know about. Like, because if they look back on it, like the people who were in charge of the empire had this really powerful magic of their own, and they really don't know like where these people came from, who they were, what they wanted. Like a lot of that is actually still a mystery, and it could potentially be important if the empire like ever pulls itself back together again or ever comes back to look for them. So like there are things I would have liked to know more about, but they weren't actually essential to the story. So like the story itself is very complete. It's just that it's an interesting world and I would have liked to know more.